16-year-old Katie was about to discover why her mother had given her the strangest safety advice of her life. Lost on empty downtown streets at 10 p.m., she was about to put her mom's unusual wisdom to the test.
This is Hammer and Tails. Let's get started.
Katie Sullivan had been looking forward to the new superhero movie for weeks. Her mother, Linda, had finally agreed to let her go with friends to the late showing, but not without some very specific instructions that had made Katie roll her eyes at the time. If you ever get separated from your friends downtown, especially at night, don't look for police first, Linda had told her daughter while dropping her off at the theater. Look for bikers. Real bikers. The ones with the leather vests and patches. Katie had stared at her mother like she'd lost her mind. "Mom, are you serious? You want me to approach scary motorcycle guys instead of cops?" Linda's expression had grown serious. "Katie, listen to me. Those bikers, they're some of the most protective people you'll ever meet, especially when it comes to kids. They'll move heaven and earth to help you." Katie had nodded absently, more focused on meeting her friends than her mother's strange advice. She figured she'd never need to use it anyway. But now, standing alone on the sidewalk outside the Regal Cinema at 10 p.m. with her phone dead and no sign of her friends anywhere, Katie remembered those words. The movie had ended 20 minutes ago, and the theater was already locked up for the night. Katie had been the last one out of the restroom after the movie, and when she emerged, her friends had vanished. She'd waited by their cars for 15 minutes before remembering that Jessica had mentioned something about getting ice cream, but she couldn't remember where. The downtown streets were mostly empty now, just a few couples walking to their cars and the distant sound of music from Murphy's Tavern 2 blocks away. Katie felt a chill run down her spine as she realized how truly alone she was. The police station was 6 blocks away, and walking there alone at night seemed more dangerous than staying put. Katie pulled out her phone again, hoping it might have magically charged itself, but the screen remained black. That's when she heard the motorcycles. The sound of Harley engines echoed off the brick buildings as a group of bikes pulled up outside Murphy's Tavern. Katie watched from the theater entrance as 5 riders dismounted, their leather vests catching the streetlight. Katie took a deep breath and walked toward them, her mother's words echoing in her mind. The group was talking quietly near their bikes when she approached. "Excuse me," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "I think I need help." The conversation stopped immediately. A woman in her 40s with long blonde hair turned toward Katie, her expression shifting from casual conversation to focused concern. "Hey there, sweetheart. What's wrong?" The woman's voice was gentle but alert. "I'm Katie Sullivan. I got separated from my friends after the movie, and my phone died." The words came out in a rush, relief flooding through her at the woman's kind response. "Okay, Katie Sullivan, I'm Diane." She gestured to the bearded man beside her. "This is my husband, Frank. We're gonna help you find your friends, all right? But first, can you tell me your mom's name?" "Linda Sullivan. She works at the county courthouse." Frank's face lit up with recognition. "Linda Sullivan from the clerk's office? The one who helped us get our charity ride permits?" Katie nodded, surprised. "You know my mom?" "Know her? Honey, your mom is why our club can do half the charity work we do. She's been helping us navigate the paperwork for years." Frank was already reaching for his phone. "Diane, call the others. We need to get word out about Linda's daughter." What happened next left Katie speechless. Frank made one phone call, speaking in a voice that carried both urgency and authority. "This is Frank. We've got Linda Sullivan's daughter here downtown, separated from her friends after the movie. I need everyone who's in the area to converge on Murphy's. Now." Within 2 minutes, Katie watched in amazement as motorcycles began arriving from every direction. They came from the parking garage, from side streets, and from other bars and restaurants throughout downtown. First came a younger man with tattooed arms who had apparently been inside Murphy's. Then an older couple, both wearing matching club patches. Then a woman with short gray hair who parked her bike and immediately walked over to Katie. By the 3-minute mark, there were 15 bikers forming a loose circle around Katie, each one asking if she was okay, if she needed water, if she was hurt. "Katie!" The voice cut through the group, and Katie looked up to see a tall man with a graying beard pushing through the gathering bikers. "Katie Sullivan, right?" "I'm Rick. I work with your mom on the Veterans Fund drives." Katie nodded, overwhelmed by the response. "I can't find my friends. We got separated after the movie." "Don't worry, sweetheart. We'll find them." Rick was already coordinating with the other bikers. "Tommy, you check the ice cream place on 3rd Street. Lisa, try the pizza joint. Mike, you and Carol head toward the parking garage." But Frank held up his hand. "Hold on. Katie, what's your mom's cell number?" Katie recited the number, and Frank dialed immediately. The conversation was brief, but Katie could hear her mother's voice through the phone, first panicked, then relieved. "Linda, it's Frank Morrison from the Iron Eagles. We've got Katie here downtown. She's perfectly safe. Her friends got separated from her after the movie." Frank listened for a moment. "Yes, we'll stay with her until you get here. She's in good hands." Frank hung up and turned to Katie. "Your mom's on her way. Should be here in about 15 minutes. But first, let's find your friends." What followed was the most organized search Katie had ever witnessed. The bikers spread out across downtown with military precision, each one checking in via text message every few minutes. They weren't just looking randomly. They were systematically covering every open business, every parking area, every gathering spot. Katie stayed with Frank and Diane, feeling safer than she had all evening. Other people on the street kept staring at their unusual group, but the bikers didn't seem to notice or care. Their focus was entirely on Katie's well-being. "There!" Diane pointed toward the ice cream shop on 3rd Street. "Is that them?" Katie followed her gaze and saw her 3 friends standing outside Scoops, looking around frantically with ice cream cones in their hands. "Yes, those are my friends." Frank put 2 fingers to his lips and let out a sharp whistle. Immediately, every biker in the area turned their attention to him. He pointed toward the ice cream shop, and the group began moving in that direction. Katie's friends spotted her approaching with what looked like a biker entourage, and their faces went from relief to confusion to concern. "Katie, we've been looking everywhere for you," her best friend Megan called out. "Are you okay? Who are these people?" "They're friends of my mom," Katie explained, still amazed by the evening's events. "They helped me find you." Frank approached Katie's friends with the same gentle authority he'd shown her. "You girls need to stick together, all right? It's easy to get separated downtown at night." Katie was smart to ask for help instead of wandering around alone. Tommy, the younger biker with the tattoos, was already pulling out his phone. "I'll let everyone know we found them. Call off the search." Katie watched as he sent a quick text, and within minutes, bikers throughout downtown were receiving the update. The coordinated search was called off as efficiently as it had begun. "Katie!" Her mother's voice cut through the night air, and Katie turned to see Linda Sullivan hurrying toward them, her face a mixture of relief and gratitude. "Mom!" Katie ran to her mother, who wrapped her in a tight hug. "Sweetheart, are you hurt? Are you okay?" Linda held her daughter at arm's length, checking for any signs of distress. "I'm fine, Mom. I did what you said. I found bikers instead of looking for police first." Katie gestured to the group of leather-clad men and women who had become her protectors. They were incredible. Linda turned to Frank with tears in her eyes. "Frank, I can't thank you enough. When I got your call, I was terrified." "Linda, you know you don't need to thank us. Any one of us would do the same thing." Frank's voice was gruff but warm. "Besides, Katie's a smart kid. She knew exactly what to do." Diane stepped forward, addressing Katie's confused friends. "You girls should know that Katie's mom has been working with our club for years, helping us get permits for our charity rides. She's helped us raise thousands of dollars for veterans." "But why did you all respond so quickly?" Megan asked, still trying to process what had happened. Rick answered with a smile. "Because that's what we do. When someone in our community needs help, especially a kid, we take care of them. It's not complicated." Frank nodded. "Your friend's mom has been taking care of our paperwork for years, making sure we can help veterans and families in need. Tonight, we got to return the favor." As the group began to disperse, each biker stopping to make sure Katie was truly okay, Tommy pulled out his phone again. "Just posted on the club page that Linda's daughter is safe. Everyone was worried." Katie looked at her phone, which Diane had somehow managed to charge using a portable battery pack. She had 12 missed calls from her mother and dozens of texts from relatives who had apparently been contacted through some invisible network she'd never known existed. "How did word spread so fast?" Katie asked. "Honey," Linda said, putting her arm around her daughter, "when I couldn't reach you, I called Frank. But Frank wasn't the only one I called. Within minutes, every biker in the county knew to look for you." Frank chuckled. "Your mom's pretty well connected in the community. She's helped a lot of our families over the years." As they walked toward the parking garage, Katie reflected on the evening's events. She'd grown up hearing negative stereotypes about bikers, but tonight she'd experienced something completely different. These weren't the scary, dangerous people she'd imagined. They were parents, grandparents, veterans, and protectors who had dropped everything to help a lost teenager. "Mom," Katie said as they reached their car, "why didn't you ever tell me about your work with the motorcycle clubs?" Linda smiled. "Because I wanted you to learn what I learned, that you can't judge people by how they look or what they wear. Those bikers tonight, they're some of the most loyal, protective people you'll ever meet." 3 weeks later, Katie attended her first charity ride planning meeting at the courthouse. Her mother was there, along with Frank, Diane, and several other members of the Iron Eagles Motorcycle Club. As Katie watched her classmates' parents learn about upcoming veteran support rides, she realized she was seeing her mother's work from a completely different perspective. After the meeting, Frank approached her. "Katie, your mom told me you're interested in helping with our charity work." Katie nodded enthusiastically. "I want to help other people understand what I learned, that bikers aren't scary, they're protectors." "That's exactly what your mom said you'd say." Frank smiled. "We'd be honored to have you help us." As Katie looked around the room at the bikers organizing their next charity event, she thought about that night downtown, how a group of strangers had become her protectors within minutes, simply because her mother had taught her to look past appearances and ask for help from the right people. The most important lesson wasn't about staying safe downtown or avoiding strangers. It was about community, loyalty, and the fact that the most intimidating-looking people were often the ones with the biggest hearts. Katie's phone buzzed with a text from Megan. "My mom wants to know if those bikers need help with their charity rides. She was really impressed by how they handled everything." Katie smiled as she typed back, "I'll ask Frank. I think they'd love the help." The lesson her mother had taught her that day had rippled outward, just like the network of bikers who had mobilized to help a lost teenager. The most important safety advice had come from the most unexpected source, and the scariest-looking strangers had turned out to be her greatest protectors. Katie had learned that when her mother said bikers would move heaven and earth to help a child, she wasn't exaggerating. She was just stating a fact about a community that most people never take the time to understand. And in a world where trust was hard to come by, Katie had discovered that the people with the toughest exteriors often have the most protective hearts.
Liked hearing this one? Hit that like button and subscribe to Hammer and Tales for more. Check out the next story on your screen. It's a good one. See you next time.